For now, please put your hands together for this lady who has been working in the national government for over 30 years, and she is the Director, Housing, State Department of Housing and Urban Development in the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. Please put your hands together for Madam Jane Mwangi.
We are here to talk about the new urban agenda. We have heard quite a bit about the SDGs, and the new urban agenda actually builds onto the SDGs, so there is no divergence. We are still speaking of the same issues. So urbanization is real in Kenya, that one we all know. And we also know that it creates an opportunity for economic growth, and especially when we do it the right way. So the urban population is over 30% that has been expressed. And if we plan it well, it is really an opportunity for all of us, and especially the young generation, the one that, the generation that my sister Nancy has talked about. Those are the people who are looking for opportunities, and it is our duty to ensure that those opportunities are availed to them for them to be able to contribute to the development of this country. So if I may give you a bit of a background on the new urban agenda, some of you have been our partners. We started this process in 2014. The moderator has talked a bit about the fact that it was adopted in Quito in 2016. And I can see in this room some of our partners that we have worked with. We have developed our priorities as a country, and after the agenda was adopted, we came back. We looked at the whole document and we agreed these are our priorities as a country. And we documented that in we have a small booklet which we call the popular version of the new urban agenda. Maybe, Linus, you can show them. We have a few copies, but we can avail it through Kara to all the other stakeholders. And the aim of that popular version is to help us engage actively in what we need to do to make sure that our urban areas are sustainable. So the new urban agenda, as I've said, it builds on to the SDG number 11. And we have a secretariat in the ministry, and some of you are members of that committee that looks at what we need to do. I know Kara is represented in that committee. And we keep looking at what are the critical issues for this country and who is doing what. Sometimes we do a lot of things, but we don't document them and nobody knows what the other is doing. So we have created a forum where we can get information on what each of us is doing in terms of implementing the new urban agenda. So who is supposed to implement the new urban agenda? I guess it is all of us. It starts right from our houses, from the way we deal with our garbage in the houses, to the way we take care of the environment around our houses, to the security within our estates, to the transport to our workplaces. So we all have a role to play, and we do not take that for granted. So we have an obligation to do our best and not feel that it is somebody else's duty. It is our duty as Kenyans. It is our country that we are improving. And then the other question we may want to ask ourselves, how does the rural Kenyan fit into the new urban agenda? And there is a very big connection between the rural and urban areas. We feed our urban population from the rural areas, and for us to be able to get the food from the rural areas, we must take care of the transport from the rural areas to the urban areas. So there's a big connection, and therefore as we look at it, we must look at it holistically. We must improve our rural areas for our urban areas to be sustainable. So that's our take on this in terms of who is supposed to implement. So I may want to just talk briefly about the initiatives that the government is taking towards ensuring that we are playing our role as government. We have developed various policies, and these policies have been developed together with yourselves. We have the National Housing Policy, the National Urban Policy, we have the Slum Upgrading Policy, and we have Urban Areas and Cities Act. And I've mentioned the urban policy. We also have the blueprint, the Vision 2030, and we try to ensure that we synchronize all these documents that we have so that we are able to implement them and we are able to know what direction we are all taking. So that is what we have done. Most of these policies have been adopted by Parliament. Others are in Parliament. We are hoping that this Parliament is going to adopt them, like the National Housing Policy and the Urban Policy. Those ones they were in the last Parliament, but unfortunately by the time they closed, they had not been adopted. We are hoping that they will prioritize them this time. As a ministry, we are also engaged in slum upgrading. We have a program called the Kenya Informal Settlements Infrastructure Program. Through this program, we are improving the informal settlements in terms of providing basic infrastructure, the drainages, the roads, the water, and such like thing. So that is one of the things that we are doing towards the implementing the new urban agenda. So we are currently also working on developing a strategy for building 1 million houses in the next 5 years. And this housing is going to be done by all of us, not just government, all of us in our own small ways. We should be able to contribute towards the development of those 1 million houses. And all this goes towards making our cities livable and better than they are today for our future generations. So I also want to commend our partners, the UN Habitat. We've been working together in developing the country program. I guess the representative from UN Habitat will talk more about that. But all this goes to show that we are one people and we need to work together. If there are organizations that are in this sector that are not represented in the National Habitat Committee, we are always ready to welcome them to our committee so that we can think together, we can know what each of us is doing, and we can see where we can assist each other in making sure that we improve the way we do things. So in conclusion, I wish to assure you of the government's support and commitment in implementing the new urban agenda. We shall provide the necessary supportive infrastructure where possible, and we shall continue providing that coordinating role to ensure that all stakeholders come together and work together towards making our urban areas a better place to live in. Thank you very much.
Beautiful round of applause to Madam Jane. Thank you so much. Of course, that's why you need to connect with Kara, because now all the information is with them. And Waswahili wanasema usiwachwe nyuma kama koti. Usiwachwe nyuma kama nini? Sababu mambo yanaendelea. We need to be at the forefront of making things happen. And of course, this is why we are here, and I'm reminded all the secrets of success will never work unless you and I work.